We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or, if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south of the border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside. Or maybe you're in the mood for seafood. Big Sur Oyster Bar has fresh seafood prepared right before your eyes. Savor freshly shucked oysters, crab legs jambalaya, shrimp and lobster. Beers on tap and a selection of fine wines are perfect to pair with your seafood favorite. Whether lunch or dinner, you'll love this fun atmosphere, located just off the casino floor. Ready to shake things up? Step back in time and treat yourself to one of the oldest restaurant chains in the country. Steak and Shake, famous for original mouth-watering steak burgers and hand-dipped milkshakes in a variety of flavors. For some old-fashioned fun, try Steak and Shake.
Good morning. Welcome in. It is Sports by the Book, South Point Studio. Jeff Parles, Alex White, Kenny White. We're all here. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Pretty good hockey game last night, right? Pretty good.
More of a sweat than we wanted for that over, but very good.
Edmonton tied it at 3 relatively early in the third. You were
12 minutes?
Yeah, once you hit 3-3, you couldn't lose.
That was it. That's all I wanted.
You're good.
And that's all I was looking for. I just kept saying, Edmonton's going to score. They're going to just go all out. And if they don't, and if they make a mistake, there's going to be a breakaway the other way because they're going to go all out. So
real quick, just on a note on that one, of course, Edmonton wins 4-3 in overtime, a last-minute goal in the first overtime because of a delay, a game penalty. Edmonton's power play took full advantage. McDavid set up Draisaitl for his second of the night, and Edmonton won 4-3 in what was just a spectacular hockey game to kick off the 25 Stanley Cup final. That was the first loss in the playoffs under Paul Maurice for Florida, where they have led after not only just the second period, but when they've led after the first period. So the last 3 postseasons, the 23 postseason, they were 6-0 after leading after 1, 9-0 leading after 2. Last year in their cup run, 7-0 leading after 1, 10-0 leading after 2. Jeez. Last night, now 7-1 and 10-1 respectively in this postseason. That's from Jonathan Davis tweeting that out earlier this morning. So Edmonton
good teams have those type of trends.
Well, not only that, I mean, Edmonton just continues their comeback ability where they showed it all throughout the early post. All 4 of their wins against LA were comeback fashion. 2 of their Vegas wins were comeback fashion. Just resiliency all the way around. And it'll be interesting to see tomorrow night. By the way, quick programming note. Tomorrow's show will be Alex White and Vinny Maliulo for the whole show tomorrow. So Kenny and I are not here tomorrow. But right now, just looking at the early numbers, they did move it to 6.5 on the total. So it is juiced to the under. Kenny, I know not asking for an exact play, but now that the hook is on, it's a little bit harder to bet that over.
Well, I'm not going to be here, so yeah, exactly.
Perfect.
I'm playing it over again, Jeff. Are you kidding me? It's going to take. It was going to take 7 goals for me to win my over 6 bet. It's going to take 7 goals for me to win my over 7.5 bet. So, obviously I don't get the tie if it lands 6 now, but these two are just such high scoring teams. Now, the later it gets in the series, those games are going to get tighter. These teams know more about each other, and, they are going to everything's going to get tightened up. So take your shots now on the overs because you're going to want to bet over in game, maybe 5, 6, and 7, or just game 6 and 7.
Really think over 1.5 might be a good play too for the first period. Saw 3, of course, yesterday between these two, but I want to go back and look at both of their and how they've been on this postseason run.
You'll have more tomorrow with Vinny on this game, Alex. I'm not playing anything in game 2. All I'll say is that the way that game went, the fact that Edmonton was able to come back multiple occasions, win that game in overtime. Florida was the better team for about 25 minutes of that game. I thought Edmonton was the better team for about 25 minutes of regulation, and I thought they were dead even the rest of the way.
Let me ask you both this question.
Yeah.
Yesterday, there was money for Florida. The game closed Edmonton $1.13 at some really sharp places. I think it was $1.15 here at the South Point, another sharp place. And when that happens, normally when the team they're betting on doesn't win, I would have expected this line to be more pick or Florida a small favorite. But now we're looking at Edmonton $1.20, $1.25. Are you surprised it's this high on Edmonton? That now there's faith for the Oilers.
I'm not. I think the market will bet Florida, and that number will come down. I think that probably will be the same sort of thing.
So you think the number's coming down? So if you like the Oilers,
I would bet. I think
I would more agree with that theory than it going up. That's for sure.
Yeah, I would imagine that if you like Edmonton in game 2, wait. I would anticipate Florida gets bet in game 2. That there'll be quote unquote some desperation factor. But as Eddie O said to us yesterday, it doesn't matter if Florida goes down 0-2. They've already been down 0-2 in a series and come back and win it in this postseason against Toronto. All right, let's go to baseball. Excuse me. We go to San Francisco, first day baseball on the Bay. Giants and Padres, final game of this series. It's been 3 one-run games. Yesterday, they finally scored some runs, 6-5. Giants get it done. Well, it's 5-0 San Diego, so 6 unanswered for the Giants to come from behind and get that win in their first one of the series. Dylan Cease and Robbie Ray, we've talked about both of these guys this year, where Cease is starting to pitch a little bit better, but is still not the same guy we saw a year ago. Robbie Ray has been awesome this year. A little bit fortunate, but Giants have won 7 times with Ray on the mound this year and has an ERA sub 2.5. San Fran minus 15, total 7.5 at Oracle this afternoon.
I think there's 2 ways you can play this. If you trust both of them, and you want to go under first 5, I think that is a great bet here. Looking at their median earned runs on the season, Cease is 2 and Robbie Ray is 1. I also think that Robbie Ray and the Giants are a great bet for the first 5. So that's the way I chose to play it. I went Giants money line and then a little bit of Giants minus that half a run in the first 5 to get some plus money there. But I really do like both. I do trust Cease, and you're right, he has been better, but man, Robbie Ray has been lights out, and this team plays very well when they know they have him on the mound.
Yeah, I like the pitching. The Cease's numbers don't look great, but he has really pitched well over his last 3 starts, a 2.42 xFIP. That tells me he's kind of back where he needs to be. And you're right, Robbie Ray has been lights out. You mentioned that 6 innings, 3.5 hits, 1 earned run. Overall, the entire season so far. I bet it under yesterday. I lost when I found a 7.5. Went under. I'm going to go under again today, even though it's a day game. 66 degrees. The wind will be blowing out to right field. I don't really add anything when the wind blows out to right field. The majority hitters in the lineups are all right-handed, and you know what? You still got to hit the baseball, even if the wind is blowing out. These 2 guys are just pitching so well. I'd rather make a case for the under.
A ballpark that really does a good job holding the wind out, as we've talked about in San Francisco. Again, final game of this series, 4-gamer. Padres looking to take 3 out of 4 with Dylan Cease this afternoon. Let's go to LA here. Mets, behind a good start from Griffin Canning and 2 Pete Alonso homers, win 6-1 last night, so they've taken 2 out of 3 and have clinched the season series against the Dodgers as well with that win yesterday. Yeah. Final one at Dodger Stadium. David Peterson and Logan Knack, your pitching matchup. Knack, a small favorite of -125. Mets +110. Total 9.5 in this one, Alex.
I really wanted to back the Mets here, go first 5, maybe even take that half a run with David Peterson on the mound. But then looking at especially his median numbers, Landon Knack's been better than I thought. Of course, he's not going as deep. So looking at Peterson going 6 innings, 2 earned runs, but we've got Landon Knack on the other side. Almost 5 innings for him and 1.5 earned runs. So I didn't do anything. It's a lean to the Mets here, but I don't like the fact that they have already taken 2 out of 3, and Dodgers should be ready for this one.
They should be, but the Mets aren't going to ease up against the Dodgers. And the Mets are playing as well, if not better, than the Dodgers right now. And as I said, there's bullpen problems for LA. I like Peterson, what I've seen out of him. He's been solid all year long. I think that he's the better starter. I think the Mets have the better pen. And offensively, they've been swinging it just as well as LA. LA is, they've played well. They're better than what they've shown. The Mets maybe are not as good as what they've shown, but you got to go with what you're seeing right now. And I'm seeing the Mets as a better team. So I would definitely lean to the Mets again here in this one.
Better starter with Peterson. Peterson is really just amazing what he's done over the last year, plus sub-3 ERA for a guy who struggled to stay in the majors before this run, a former first-round pick. It would only be a look to New York at +110. I'm a little bit surprised that Knack is actually favored in this game, even though Knack did pitch well against the Mets when he faced them in New York. High strikeout game for that one and only gave up a homer to Alonso. Really the only damage in that game. Dodgers just didn't score at Citi Field about 2 weeks ago. All right, let's go to Washington next. Game 3 of this series between the Nats and the Cubs. The rubber match. Nats yesterday with a 2-0 win, shutting down the best offense in baseball. Mackenzie Gore was spectacular. Bullpen did enough over 2 innings. Today, Nats are a +130 dog with Jake Irvin. Drew Pomerantz will be the opener for the Cubs here today, a -145 favorite, and a total of 10 in this one.
Yeah, I was really mad at myself. I left that one off my card, first 5 under there between those two with those 2 pitchers going. I didn't really find anything I liked in this one. I think -145 is correct for the Cubs here, and I think that total is just about right, maybe slightly high, but yeah, nothing for me in this one.
I'm going to pass on this game. My numbers are very, very close, both side and total. So, not a lot for me here in this game. The Cubs are solid and they've been playing great baseball, as good as anybody in the game, coming off a loss. If I was going to look at a side in this game, my numbers right there, it would be the Cubs if I had to make a bet, but I'm passing.
Moving along, by the way, this is a perfect pass for me. I'm a little bit concerned with the way the Cubs are going to manage this game pitching-wise, but again, that you don't expect the Cub offense to be held down 2 straight days. So that is always something to at least keep in the back of your mind on this game here in D.C., 6:45 local time start. All right, final game in Chicago, South Side for the White Sox and the Tigers. The Tigers with a 1-run win yesterday, 5-4. Today they'll throw Casey Mize against Sean Burke, who's pitched pretty well for the White Sox this year. -210 on the Tigers, +185 on Burke. Total of 8-day baseball at Wright Field. Wind blowing left to right in this game.
Pretty odd series so far. So the Tigers take game 1 13-1. White Sox strike back 8-1 the next game. And then yesterday it really looked like the White Sox were going to pull it off again. Tigers end up winning that one by 1 run. I know Sean Burke has been really good here for the White Sox, and even his median numbers say that. I mean, even holding his opponents in the last 3 to a 190 batting average. But I think the Tigers are going to bounce back from that yesterday. So it would only be a -1.5 for me here. Full game for Detroit to have a bounce back spot.
Yeah, much better baseball team, obviously. Love the Tigers, but the price is too high for me. And my total's right there. If I had to make a case for anything in this game, I would maybe go first 5 under. Like what I've seen out of Casey Mize, former first rounder. His median splits are great, and so Sean Burke's. His median splits have been great. And when you look at his numbers, they're not fantastic with a 4.20 ERA and a 1.44 WHIP, but that could be just one bad start. So that would be one thing. The weather, 66 degrees, as Jeff mentioned, wind blowing, a crosswind. It's not helping the hitters or pitchers. I could go under first 5 with these two pitchers.
Don't mind that 4.5 in this one. It's just a matter of what we're getting out of the Tiger offense. Again, like you said, Alex, bizarro series so far. Close game yesterday. Tigers held on to win by a run. All right, day baseball in West Sacramento today. Festa and Spence, your pitching matchup. Minnesota minus 180. A's plus 160 on a take back. Total of 10. Finally an under in ideal hitting conditions last night. Twins team total did go over. A's only put up 1, so the full game did not get there. The A's are just playing miserable baseball right now. There's no sugarcoating it. They're down 23-40. So they're now, along with the White Sox, second worst team in baseball. Twins going for the 4-game sweep today. The weather in Sacramento, West Sacramento today is not like we've seen the last few days, guys. It is hot, but the wind is not as aggressive as it's been. It is blowing out, but looking at 78, 78 at first pitch, winds about 5 miles an hour blowing out to left center.
It's funny, when I saw this, I thought to myself, where's Mitch Spence been? Because he was a regular starter for the Athletics last year. But I've really been following starters here. So coming out of the bullpen for most of the year so far, I don't really know what to do with that and how many innings you'll think he'll go, or if he's going to be more of an opener. But you have to add in the fact that the Athletics have lost 9 in a row. Twins won 3 in a row here. Bailey Ober has been very good. I like all of his numbers. So, I mean, it's hard to bet against the Twins and bet on this team to try and end this losing streak.
Yeah, this is a really bad roll right here for the Twins. They're rolling in the wrong direction. So I don't want to lay this type of price. However, I think the Twins are the right side in the game. The weather conditions are right. Jeff mentioned 78 at first pitch, but it will be 83 to 85 by the 4th or 5th inning.
Yep.
It's going to get really hot, and this A's bullpen is so bad. I think the Twins can put up a big number. In these type of games, you're hoping for one big inning, put up a crooked number on the board and go from there. Spence will start Thursday's game. Nothing mentioning about being an opener. I think they may kind of let him go see how far he can go in this spot. You're right, making 24 starts last year. It'll be his first start this year. Just don't think, he doesn't have the greatest command. So there's going to be base runners and there's going to be runs in this one. The wind, and this wind's still 10 to 15 straight out to center. I like 15 as my number. And if I knew it was going to be 15 all day, if it was going to be 20, I'm thinking the total should be 12, not 10.5. I think it should be more like 11. So I am over the 10.5.
There you go. You can even get a flat 10 if you want, Kenny, on the total.
I didn't see any.
Twins and and Athletics. Yeah, you got them. They're all 10s now across the board.
Oh, are they? It came back down to 10?
Yeah, all 10s. If you want to go with that. All right, let's go to Seattle next. Brian Wu, Zach Eflin, your pitching matchup in Seattle. Mariners looking to avoid getting swept at home by the Orioles, who are starting to play a little bit better. And the Mariners have 3 runs in 2 games in this series. Wu is a minus 150 favorite, plus 135 on Eflin and the O's, 7.5 your total in this game.
That is not good. I don't love that, but I did bet the Mariners here in this spot at first 5 for me. I did lay half as well. So, no, you know what I did as well? I did 2. I did take under 4. I found a 4 minus 125. There are some 3.5s out there if you like that for even money, but I went under 4. I do trust Eflin enough, but I love Brian Wu. I like how this team plays when he's on the mound too. He's 5-2 on the year, and his numbers are great. Goes 6 1/3 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 6 strikeouts to just 1 walk. Having a really good year. So I'm backing Brian Wu here today. First 5 for me. Minus, I don't know what that actual number was. Maybe it's up here on the board. Minus 150 here.
I'm still in amazement that last game, Jeff, that you're telling me there's 10s, and they are 10s across the board. And I didn't realize I was willing to go over, and I already did with Bailey Uber on the mound yesterday. And now you're telling me it dropped a half, and Uber isn't pitching, and it's David Festa. So kind of surprising. Alex, I agree with you on the Seattle game. I like the under because of the pitching. I do worry a little bit. It's a day game in Seattle. The ball will carry a little bit better, I'm sure. 70 degrees, the roof will be open. When those roofs are open, you kind of got to add a run to those spots. So make sure you check that. Baltimore really starting to pick it up finally. I might look to take the price there because Zach Eflin's a veteran that I know he's going to be ready, and he's going to keep his team in the game. And Seattle's struggling to hit right now. Two teams kind of going a little bit opposite directions. So I'm going to bet Baltimore in this game.
O's going for the sweep. Again, still the third worst record in the American League, but starting to maybe get out of this early season swoon. Just so far back right now. 13 behind the Yankees in the AL East, and right now in the wild card race, still 9 out behind Cleveland in the AL wild card race. Speaking
Are you going
of
full game?
Yeah, I'm going to go full game.
Okay.
Speaking of
We can both
Cleveland, excuse me, Guards looking to get a series win in the Bronx. Great pitching performance by Ortiz yesterday, leading the Guards to a shutout victory.
Yep.
It'll be Shasoni and Fried. So Max Fried looks to bounce back after his first loss of the season, coming last weekend against the Dodgers. He's a gigantic favorite. He's minus 270 at home, Alex. That is a big, big price on Fried against a non-pushover in Cleveland, total 8.5.
Yeah, and it's really hard. I was looking for numbers here. So if you want to go Yankees minus half, first 5, it's minus 175. I did find a spot where you could lay a run and a half in the first 5 for plus 105. I don't know if you would suggest doing that. Probably not.
Yeah.
But I really do want to find a way to back Max Fried here today. Coming off of that tough start against the Dodgers. He did go 4 really good innings, and it kind of fell apart there in the 5th. But I think Yankees is the right spot, definitely, especially a bounce back here after getting shut out. So either Yankees first 5 minus 175, minus half a run there, or maybe full game.
Yeah, I like Yankees. You got Max Fried on the mound, and you know what you're going to get. One of the best pitchers in baseball. Great confidence right now. The team has great confidence behind him. And coming off that loss last night, I think they'll be ready. And looking at, the Guards pitcher, very weak. I think a below average big league pitcher at this point in his career. So I didn't quite make the side that high saying all that, but my feeling is the Yankees are going to get off to a good start. They don't have to win the game, but Max Fried's going to pitch well. So I would rather go first 5. And in this spot, if I am lay a half minus 75,
Yeah.
I'm going to lay a flat 100 to win whatever. I'm not going to lay 175. So I'm not going to win a full unit, but I'll be very conservative on the bet. But I am going to bet the Yankees first 5 here today, minus a half.
Fried has been awesome. And again, coming off his worst start of the year, it would be a very ideal bounce back spot for Max Fried. We go to Tampa next, the Yankees spring training park in play here, of course, home of the Rays here in 2025. Tampa's going for a 3-game sweep at Texas. Texas just can't get right. Just waiting. Hasn't happened yet. Rays are minus 40 with Ryan Pepio tonight. Jack Leiter, plus 125 for Texas, total of 9. Rays very quietly have gotten back into things, 32-29 on the season now.
I'm going to trust the Rangers in this spot. You're right. They can't fully get right yet, but I like what I saw yesterday. They did have a big inning. Corey Seager even went 0 for 4, so it didn't even take him, but they did get close. Lost 5-4 to the Rays yesterday. I like Jack Leiter. I'm going first 5 plus half a run in this one with the Rangers. It's minus 120. I think that they can hang around in this one, if not win it for full game. So I might even sprinkle a little on that full game, trying to avoid the sweep here at plus 125. And I like Pepio on the other side, but I mean, he is coming off 2 of his best starts of the year. So might see some regression to the mean here for him. So Rangers for me.
And, pitching in a pitcher's ballpark, sometimes your numbers are going to be better on the road, and that Pepio's numbers are better on the road. He doesn't pitch as well here. Leiter has struggled in his road games. So it's going to be extremely hot today in Tampa, in the 90s. At first pitch, it is going to be down in the mid 80s, and it's going to be, though, in the 80s most of this game. It is going to be humid too. Hot, humid, wind blowing out slightly, not a lot of wind, but it is blowing straight out to center field 5 to 8 miles an hour tonight all night. I'm going over. I without the weather, I still would have gone over. With the weather, it's even a bigger play for me today.
I like it. 9 runs yesterday.
And I got to worry about the Rangers at bats. They're not swinging it, but Tampa is. Tampa's really swinging it. You just said, that quietly they've really come on, and they're a great organization. My experience in studying these organizations, there's 2 really, really good ones that do it on the cheap, St. Louis and Tampa. The Dodgers are a great organization because they spend a lot of money and they spend it wisely. The Yankees, the same way, but Atlanta, put them in there as well. But Tampa and St. Louis, they develop players. They develop really good players.
Rays going for the sweep tonight. And again, it's been a weird stretch for the Texas Rangers over the last 6 weeks. All right, we go to Philadelphia and Toronto next. Rubber match north of the border. Day baseball at the Rogers Center. Good pitching matchup. We've talked about how well Jesus Luzardo has pitched this year in his first year in Philly. Chris Bassett's been the best starter for Toronto this year. It's basically a flip here at the South Point. Philly, small favorite at -110, 5 cents on the Jays. Total of 8 north of the border. Rubber match in this one.
I do agree with that number here. I do think the Phillies should be a small favorite, even though you're right, Chris Bassett has been really good. But kind of looking under the hood more, his median numbers 5 2/3, 7 hits, 2 earned runs. Doesn't really walk anyone, though. 6-1 is his median strikeout to walk ratio there. But I really like Jesus Luzardo on the other side. I think that they can be up at least after the first 5. I don't really trust Phillies bullpen just yet. So I'm going Phillies just money line in the first 5 here. Or maybe even did I take a half of one? I'll double check that. But the only thing that does worry me is Toronto's bats. Still one of the teams that's hitting the most, and they are 7th best OPS against lefties. So really need Luzardo to keep that going here.
Luzardo's pitched great. There's value with Luzardo, but you're right. That Philly bullpen is so scary that it is a much better bet, I think, to go with the Phillies in the first 5 innings in this game. I'd even be willing to lay a half a run with this team against Bassett. They hit righties very well. They hit lefties better, but they're still an above-average offense against right-handed pitching. And Bassett has shown he can be hit around a little bit. 7 hits per game in 5 2/3 on the year overall. And at home, about the same. And he's going to walk a couple guys. There are going to be at least 9 base runners. He's a 1.5 whip guy. So if you get a couple clutch hits with runners on base, and that's what you need, Phillies are going to be on top, I think, after 5.
I forgot I did check out Phillies numbers against Bassett, too, and they are really good in 131 at-bats, batting .267, 314 OBP, and a couple guys like Schwarber, 7 hits and 16 at-bats, 2 home runs for him, so maybe taking over bases for him as well.
You can get lay half a run first 5 plus 30 on Philadelphia today, so you can get a really nice price if you want to lay the first 5 run line on the Phils north of the border. Again, rubber match. Both teams currently second place teams in their respective divisions. Pittsburgh is next. Pirates and Stros. Mitch Keller and Framber Valdez tonight at PNC. Pirates offense last night did enough.
Yeah.
Especially when you give up 0, you just got to get 1 on the board. Both of these games have been 3-0 so far, just reversed in these first 2 games. Valdez is -145 on the road tonight. Keller's +130. Total 7.5 at PNC, Alex.
Man, I really thought I was backing the Pirates today, but after that shutout, it kind of moves me the other way. Plus, I didn't know it was going to be Framber Valdez. So I like both of these pitchers a lot. I went under in the first 5. I actually got a 4. Curious if it's still 4 here at South Point. But lean to the Astros side with Valdez going. Was looking for that first 5 money line as well, but decided on on the total. So 3.5, I still like that one as well with both of these pitchers going.
Yeah, Valdez, man, he's good. It's not like I didn't know that. I knew this guy's a really good pitcher. He didn't start fast, and as we talked early in the season, I always say they're not in midseason form, nowhere near. But now they're starting to these all pitchers that have 60, 70 innings. You're expecting a guy to pitch 150 innings on the season. That's we're starting to get to that point where you can really rely on these guys to have their best stuff. Are they going to have a bad game every now and then? Yeah. But Framber Valdez is one of the best in baseball. I expect him to, throw another great game. Mitch Keller. I think I've gotten enough out of him that he's an above average big league pitcher, and he's pitched really well at home this year. I think the total's a little too high at 7.5. We know the Pirates aren't swinging it, and the Astros haven't put up a lot of runs either in this series. So I'm under first 5 and under for the game.
One last set of games today because we had 2 in St. Louis, split dip after the rain out last night. Well, yesterday, Michaelis and Cameron, we talked about it. We leaned to St. Louis in that game slightly. That's now minus 30 here. This is the early game going in 15 minutes. 925, 926 on the rotation numbers. A total 8.5. Is there anything different from what we said yesterday on this matchup now?
I really wanted to go under in the first 5. Are we okay weather-wise? Day game?
Yeah, day game, I just don't trust it. And Cameron's a guy that I expect to come back to earth. He's been very lucky so far in looking at that ERA. But day game, it's 73 degrees there. Nothing to... no advantage for the hitters or the pitchers with that weather that we're going to see there today. But I like St. Louis. I like Michaelis. I like what he's done. So I backed him yesterday. I'm gonna my numbers don't say it though, but I've given Noah Cameron such a high rating after just 25 innings. I just talked about midseason form, 60, 70 innings. You're starting to get there. And that's where Michaelis is right now at 55 innings. He's going to hit that. Noah Cameron is due for some really bad starts, and hoping it's today. And that's why I'm just playing the due factor in this game today.
And then game 2 of the doubleheader. What a pitching matchup we got. Liberatore and Reagans on the nightcap. This game has been bet insanely aggressively for being the second game of a doubleheader already. That total's gone down a whole run. From 8 to 7. The side has not been touched. St. Louis opened $1.15. It's still there. But that total has gone down a whole run, which, I understand that we have 2 high-end pitchers. Liberatore, when he's been at his best, has been, St. Louis's best starter. Reagans, we know, even though he's been inconsistent this year, we know the high level he's capable of pitching at. Isn't this a little aggressive for not knowing what's going to happen in game 1 of taking this total down a whole run here, guys?
How many people are getting your sheet?
Did you take this down a whole run, Kenny?
No, I did not bet it, but I was, worried about Reagans because he's been off 15 days. He did pitch 1 game down at AAA. Maybe it was AA, but he made a start, went 3 2/3. He got hit that day. Minor leaguers beat him up. 7 hits, 5 runs, 4 earned, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. That's what I like to see. So, just attacking hitters. He's not worried about that. So I think he should be just fine today. And we know Liberatore has been tremendous. So, but my number's right there. I made it 7.5. And what is it right now?
It moved from 8 to 7.5.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't take off half a run either for.
No, I didn't take off a half a run for Liberatore, and I should. And that second game of double headers, a lot of times you rest guys. All the best left-handed hitters for both teams will sit that game out.
I'm curious to see what happens with the side after game 1. Curious to see how that gets bet. Again, Kansas City took the only game in the series so far, a wild 10-7 game 2 nights ago in game 1 of the I-70 series in St. Louis. All right, that's Major League Baseball for today. The trivia question is going to be in the bottom momentarily. When we get back, game 1 of the NBA Finals tonight. We'll give you our NBA Finals preview, and Kenny White will look at the Super Regionals that begin tomorrow in college baseball right here on Sports by the Book.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or, if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south of the border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
This is the best sports betting network.
I would argue it is a total mismatch.
There's value with underdog prices in series.
I would lean to the under here.
My numbers are saying I got to bet the Tigers.
Two-way action.
When in doubt, we juice that favorite, that extra nickel.
Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
Forget about it. The best.
Welcome back in Sports by the Book, South Point Studio. Jeff Parles, Kenny White, Alex White here on a Thursday, June 5th. Game 1 of the NBA Finals tonight in Oklahoma City. It feels like it's been 3 months since we've seen either of these teams. It's barely been a week for Indiana. It's been over a week for OKC. And guys, we've talked about this. This price is large. We're up to $7 here at the South Point. It's minus 700 on OKC for the series tonight in Game 1. They're minus 450 and 9.5-point favorites. Kenny, can you remember totals in the 230s for the NBA Finals? Because that's what we got here for Game 1.
I can remember back to 1985.
We're going a ways back. But Kenny, just individually, just talking tonight, and then you can take it into the full series. There's a reason Oklahoma City is a huge favorite. We talked about it. Best spread record, nearly 66% on the year is the best spread record during the NBA Finals in at least the last 30 years, dating back there. But anything here tonight in Game 1, anything on this series that you may be looking at?
My side, Jeff, I have Oklahoma City 11.5. Now I'm going to give revenge factor for Indianapolis because they lost both games, the Pacers regular season games, to the Thunder. So I'll take that off and make the game 9. I don't have a play on the side. We all know how good OKC is, but there's got to be a sense of urgency for the Pacers to come out and play well early in this game. I'm going to look to maybe bet the Pacers in the first quarter. And I haven't made any bets yet, but my thinking is, my process is just stay away from the game because my numbers are right there. But I really think the Pacers have to come out strong early. They're a dog. Dogs stay in games early. They play 48 minutes because after 48 minutes, the better team is supposed to win. And that's what happens most of the time. So I know the Thunders should win this game. There's a chance the Pacers could hang on and win it, but I think the Pacers are going to be in this early. And my total, I could only make it 227. And I love Indiana's pace. I love Oklahoma City's scoring, but I love Oklahoma City's defense. And for how long these teams have been off, I saw a couple of really low-scoring first quarters with Minnesota and OKC. I think you could get a very low-scoring first quarter in this game. So I'm looking for that. I'm looking for that to be a benefit. So I'll make a 1% bet for fun on the Pacers because I think that's what's going to happen, and I'm going to make a 1% bet under in the first quarter.
So I did make 2 small bets on the series, actually 3 small bets on the series. I laid 2.5 games here with OKC, so have to win in 4 or 5. It was minus 135. You guys have been talking about how good this Oklahoma City team is since the beginning of the postseason. Pretty much OKC Invitational in the West. I can't get past the fact, Dad, and maybe you can help here, but Boston was minus 225 to win the series last year against Dallas. I had a way better feel, was following NBA a lot more, but I thought, yeah, it'll probably be a pretty quick series. They did it in 5. Now we have this Thunder team that is minus $7. So isn't that kind of telling to us that it should be pretty quick? Or on the other side, the Pacers have been a little undervalued throughout this whole postseason, and maybe they still are a little. But, I mean, your numbers say it. They match it for the first game. So that makes me feel like the Thunder can get it done in 4, maybe 5. Gentlemen's sweep.
That's adding the revenge factor. And when I run my numbers, I have the Thunder 11.5 in game 1, but I am going to adjust for the revenge factor. But so I guess if the Thunder win game 1, you still got to give a little revenge factor in game 2, 9. But once they go to Indiana, the Thunder are going to be 5.5 the next 2 games. That's what I think they're going to be. And then back home again, they're 11.5. So if I just used my true numbers and didn't calculate revenge in, I think OKC should be minus 2,000 with no juice. So I think it should be like minus 2,500 plus 1,500 is I think what the correct price should be in the series.
Jeff said that last week, asking Chris what he would make it, right? You said, you didn't say that high, but you said 9.
I mean, it was just more of, again, this is protection. You don't want to get inundated. Where if you open Oklahoma City, let's say you open Oklahoma City $10 and Indiana's plus 750, we all know what's going to happen. Yep. There will be no bets on Oklahoma City. It'll just be one-way traffic on Indiana. Just some quick notes here. Pacers are the 7th biggest underdog in the NBA Finals since 1986. They have the only team in that mix of the bottom 10 or however way you want to look at it, top 10 biggest dogs in the NBA Finals in that time period. Only one of them has won it. That was the Detroit Pistons in that epic upset over the Lakers in 2005, where the Pistons won in 5 games. That was Chauncey Billups, Rip Hamilton, the Wallaces, Larry Brown, and the Lakers when Kobe and Shaq were at the peak of hating each other. But I don't know if I would go as aggressive as you said, Kenny, at minus 2,500, but I would be floored if Oklahoma City did not win this series. They're just the better team. Even Pacers fans that I'm friends with are like, well, we're in the finals. Even if just don't get embarrassed. Which, you know what? If there's a route where Oklahoma City sweeps this series and we come away as like, well, that was a pretty competitive series. Same deal with a 5-gamer where this could be all these tight games. I like Oklahoma City in 5 personally. I wish you're getting a little bit of a better price than 2-1. But that just makes a lot of sense. Indiana wins 1 game at home at Gainbridge, and that's that. We talked about it. OKC they've been an all-time team hiding in plain sight this year because of the perceived quality downing in the NBA, which that might be the league's fault, that is the perception more so than anything. But this is a team, as we talked about, that almost 66% against the spread this year.
Yeah.
And you're favored in all but 10 games this year. That's impossible. And it's the best spread record in the last 30 years. So I like OKC in 5. I like your bet, Alex, of OKC laying 2.5 games too. Those would be the only ways I'd look to play it. And then tonight, Kenny, you said you had it 11.5 and then moved it down to 2.5 or
2.5. I took 2.5 points off for the revenge.
So it's right on it with that 9.5. 230 feels high, but this is a correlated game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where it's opposite of what you would normally think. This is favored on under and dog and over tonight, right? If Indiana's going to stay in this game, Indiana's got to play this game at their fast pace that they want to do, and they got to be making shots. So I'm going to stay out of it from a game to game. Maybe there'll be some in-game opportunities, but I would follow Alex late at 2.5 with OKC. Take OKC in 5 games. That feels good to me.
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty good number there, minus 135. I also do lean to them getting it done in 4. You make a great point. It can still be very competitive.
Sure.
And the Thunder just, win.
My only worry about OKC is, have they ever won a title?
Neither team has ever won a title.
Right.
This would be, again, Technically, Oklahoma City owns the Seattle Supersonics
Yes.
history, so there's one
have won
Supersonic
that.
title in there. But when the NBA expands back to Seattle, that history will go back. It's all convoluted a mess. But to answer your question, no,
none of these guys.
Neither of these teams have won a title.
None of these players on the floor. Maybe I don't know. You'd have to look through the rosters. Maybe
Caruso's got one because he's the one with the Lakers.
So,
yeah.
but I told you I love the way the Pacers play, and you're right, Jeff. They want to play fast. They want to get this up tempo because that's the way they play. They're not going to change their style of play. That scares me. I just think there could be a little rust early. The nerves getting on the court, NBA Finals. I think the first quarter we could get a lot of missed shots early because of those nerves.
And of course, Pascal Siakam, of course, the 2019 champion in Toronto.
With Toronto, yes.
So, yeah. So reasonable. Again, Siakam was the Eastern Conference Final MVP, for goodness sake. So
you got one for each side.
Yeah, a big piece on Indiana and an important piece.
An important piece
on the Oklahoma City side as well. So that's where we're at here for game one. I kind of like your under first quarter, Kenny. I think that would probably be the way to look at it, where you get a sluggish start or miss shots. Only problem is books know that, and that number is 56.5, which on a 230 is super, super low for game one of the NBA Finals.
What a great point guard matchup.
Oh, well, Halliburton and SGA, pretty good. Pretty good, the MVP. And I know he didn't win the Eastern Final MVP, but Halliburton has been the best player for Indiana, of course, through these last few years.
Just lost by one vote, right, for that?
I don't remember. I didn't see what the vote was, but
so.
If you had Pascal Siakam, you were very happy it went your way with that big bloated prices that were out there on the Eastern Conference Final MVP. All right, you want to do some college baseball? I know everyone in the chat is hunkering down and ready to go for this. So Kenny, we'll do this in duets here. Just starting at the top left of the bracket, I'll ask you about both of these matchups in the Supers. So we have the upset bowl first, where this was supposed to be, hey, we're going through Nashville all the way to Omaha. Not quite. Louisville gets out of that Nashville region. And because there was an upset in Hattiesburg, Louisville gets home field in this series against Miami. So an all ACC battle, Louisville and Miami, game one tomorrow. And then Louisville, by the way, a minus 160 favorite, these odds via DraftKings. And then Corvallis, it's a flip. Boy, DraftKings, put up a minus 110. Don't be scared of the bettors. Come on. A flip between Florida State and Oregon State up in Corvallis. Kenny, any thoughts on either of those two series, super regional wise?
All right. So the Hurricanes, very fortunate to be here. I didn't think they were going to get here. They played well at the right time in the regional, but they've got pitching at a guy named who I think will start game one, AJ Siskar, who came out of nowhere really for this club and has pitched amazing. So he's going to be the better starting pitcher in game one, but the Louisville team really can swing it. Their guy, Pat Forbes, is a veteran pitcher, does a nice job, but pitching is in favor of Miami. Home field is so big in college baseball. Major League Baseball, you break down the numbers, the home team wins 53% of the time. College baseball, it's a little more difficult to figure out because they play a lot of non-conference games that they were, $6, $7, $8 favorite, and they should win those home games, and they do. But even in the competitive games within conference, home field is so important in college baseball. So my numbers are right there with the side on that game. So I'm passing the side on that one. It's right there. And again, tomorrow I'll give out totals, Jeff.
Yep.
I'll give Alex totals. Vinny and Alex can give out my totals on those games. Now I know that one's a noon game. The North Carolina game, you may not get that, but I just haven't bet them yet. You'll see the market move. When the market moves, that can tell you which way I'm betting. The Florida State, Oregon State game. Oregon State, again, I just talked home field and how important it is. But this Oregon State team didn't play the best of schedule this year because they were in the WAC, or the West Coast Conference. They didn't have a conference tournament. I kind of feel like they just played a WAC schedule or a West Coast Conference schedule. So they're kind of in between on pitching right now. The guy that's going to go for them tomorrow, Dax Whitney, is a freshman, and he's had a really good year, and he's had a great year at home in a pitcher's ballpark. He's facing somebody he's never seen before. This Florida State team is loaded with hitters. They're going to start Jamie Arnold, who's going to be a top 10 pick in the Major League Baseball draft. Arnold's got tremendous stuff. He doesn't have the greatest in numbers this year. He had a couple of issues in the middle of the season. I think it wasn't arm-wise, but he did have an illness that he missed a start, and then they decided, let's make sure he's healthy, and he missed another start. So when you're off that long, you're not going to be the best you can be. But this guy has big league stuff. They've got a big league lineup. I think they should be the favorite in this game. So I am playing Florida State. I'll give you Florida State as an under. Well, I guess they're not really an underdog. You got to lay a little bit of a small price in this one, Jeff. But you only have to lay 105 with a big league pitcher against a freshman. How many nerves is the freshman going to have when Arnold has already thrown in World Series games and Super Regional games? So I think the experience goes to Florida State as well.
Let's go right down to the next one here. A lot of chalk. It's your lower left in your bracket here. So North Carolina makes it through. They will host. Arizona wins their pod. Oregon gets knocked out there. So that matchup. And then 2 1 seeds here, Auburn and Coastal Carolina.
North Carolina is going to go with a senior, Jake Knapp, that's a tremendous pitcher. And he was out last year with an injury. I think it might have been Tommy John, if I remember right. But they thought he'd be their number 2 or number 3 in the rotation this year to start the season, but he pitched so well in his first couple games. They moved him to the Friday starter, and he has big league stuff himself. Owen Kramkowski is going to start for Arizona, and he's had an average season in road games. North Carolina is going to be a really tough environment to play in, I think, for Arizona, plus the travel that they've had to endure. They had to go to Oregon last week, now fly across country to North Carolina. The price is so high, but I made it high as well. I made North Carolina 450 in this game, not even thinking about Arizona's travel, the advantage that North Carolina has pitching wise. The North Carolina lineup is a far better hitting lineup, and they really started to come around. So I hate to lay a big number in these games because it is baseball. But if it may be a situation where I can find a parlay and a dance partner for North Carolina here and parlay them, because I think they win this game. I won't parlay them with Florida State because I'm gonna make a 2 to 3% bet on Florida State because I think it's a really good spot. But I'll try to find another dance partner for North Carolina.
Auburn and Coastal Carolina.
This is going to be a really fun series. Coastal Carolina. Second best ERA in the country as a team, and they play in one of the better hitting parks in college baseball. This park has averaged 15 to 16 runs a game over the last 10 years, and their ballpark was 11 this year, a drastic drop. That would be like Coors Field games that were being played in the 12-13 range, and then all of a sudden, now they're playing 4-3, 5-3 ball games, and that's what they did. So they're whoever Coastal starts, they're going to start Cameron Fluke or Morrison, and both of these guys have had great years. They're going to go head to head. Samuel Dutton, the ace of Auburn's staff, and all these guys are experienced, junior, seniors, maybe fifth-year seniors. Samuel Dutton's a senior. He's going to start in this game for Auburn, and he had a couple of bad starts in a row, but he overcame them in his last start against Stetson. Stetson's a really good team, but they're not as good of a team as Coastal Carolina, and I think I've kind of overrated Auburn a little bit. They've got a lot of freshmen. They play a lot of guys. So Coastal, I think, is a more experienced team, and they have far better pitching. So I'm betting Coastal to win this regional, get back to the World Series again, and I'm gonna bet Coastal in Game 1. I don't have a ton of value on that bet. I think I have more value on the series bet because Coastal's starting pitching is far better.
Plus 115.
Top right of the bracket next, you get the upset in Austin So UTSA, the Roadrunners, get through. UCLA handled their business. They get the home super regional and then the chaos super regional. You guys are all over Duke for a while now, and they get through Athens pretty easily. But no one expected what happened in Oxford, where the 4-seed Murray State gets through. They beat Ole Miss twice en route to getting to the super regional. UCLA is minus 180 against UTSA, and then Duke is the second biggest favorite at DraftKings in the super regionals, unranked, but minus 380 against Murray State, Kenny.
So UTSA is the real deal. This is a really good baseball team, and they've got some really good pitching. Now, I say they're the real deal. They're not as good as Coastal Carolina, who I'm betting in that series there in that one, but they're close. They were 47-13 on the year. They went into Texas, and they took care of one of the most well-coached baseball teams in the country. There was a couple of starting pitcher injuries for Texas, but this is a very, very solid team top to bottom. They can swing it. They can play defense. They pitch. They've got a really good bullpen. UCLA is very, very good too. But I think UTSA is the better team. The only negative is they've got to go to UCLA and play in California. But I think they're going to really enjoy the weather there, that it's going to be 75 every single day around the clock. So I'm betting UTSA for the series, and I'm betting them in game one to beat UCLA. I hope they don't have a letdown from beating Texas, because that's such a big deal. That's like the greatest thing that's ever happened to this team. And I don't worry about the travel. San Antonio and Austin are not that far apart. They took a bus down there and, bust home. And I'm sure their coach has said, hey, we got UCLA next. And they're going to be fired up. So every game, I think, in that regional is going to be a close game in LA.
Does UTSA get a lot of Texas's
Yes.
overflow?
Oh yeah, sure they do. A lot of those teams. A lot of those teams do.
That did mean a lot for them to beat.
Yes. Oh yeah. No, they're the little brother in that case. But in baseball, schools in California, Texas, and Florida have really good position players. It's the pitching what makes the difference in these teams. Texas's team was taxed, and they had a couple injuries in their starting rotation. If Texas would have had their two of their better starters, they probably win that series. So San Antonio was fortunate. They just don't have great pitching, but they can really swing it. But their pitching is decent enough, because UCLA doesn't have great pitching either. They have a good defensive team that can swing the bats a little bit. So should be a really interesting series. So I think Texas, San Antonio, they're not in a lot of these situations where the home teams are that much better and you have intimidation. UTSA is not going to be intimidated walking onto this campus and playing UCLA.
What about Murray State going up against Duke here? And as Jeff mentioned, not ranked, but second biggest favorite to win this series.
Man, that I'm happy as can be. I never get breaks like this where we both got a break that Duke gets home. I didn't think they were going to get a home game for a super regional. They don't only get the home game, they get Murray State, the weakest team of all teams left in the super regional, and it's not even close. Murray State really had a weekend for the ages last weekend. They've swung the bats better than I thought they could. So I've raised their rating up a little bit offensively, but I don't think they have the bullpen to hang around with Duke. I think they're going to be intimidated playing on Duke's campus. It's going to be a packed house and a rowdy crowd, and these are great baseball fans. And I think that home field advantage is going to be at least worth 50 cents per game. I'm going to have Duke about $4 in the first game, without, adding anything really extra in of that intimidation factor. So I haven't even looked at the line, and it's right at $4. So I think the line is just right in that game. Go Dukies though.
The bottom right, LSU looked to be in a little bit of trouble, amazingly enough, in their super regional. They survived. They get through. We talked about West Virginia going into this tournament, Kenny, and West Virginia gets through the Clemson Regional, and they now I'd have a big uphill battle. LSU is the biggest favorite at Kings in the super regional round. Kenny, any thoughts on an LSU West Virginia series before we get to the heavy duty one to wrap up the super regionals?
Yeah, West Virginia is throwing a fifth-year senior transfer portal guy that pitched at a small college, Griffin Kern, and he has been a huge surprise for this team. West Virginia's not here if it's not for Griffin Kern, and he's throwing game one against Cade Anderson, who's a first-rounder. I think this is going to be a battle. West Virginia can play. They are a really good baseball team. So I will be on West Virginia plus the price in that game, and I will be on West Virginia for the series.
And then the last one, what a series this is. If we're just going pure talent, Kenny, there's an argument these are the two most talented teams left in the field. And naturally, they're playing each other in the super regional, so one of them won't even get to Omaha. Arkansas is the betting favorite to win the tournament, period. Raised the trophy in Omaha. They were the betting favorite going into the tournament, period. Now number 1 and number 2 are gone, and the price hasn't changed that much because of this matchup against the Tennessee Volunteer team that, of course, won the title a year ago. Obviously, new-look team, but unbelievably talented. And as you see, there are 16 left. This is the favorite and the fourth favorite to win the championship in Omaha in about 2 weeks from now, Kenny. So there you go. Arkansas's 3-1, Tennessee's 9-1 overall in the series. Hogs minus 45, plus 15 on the Vols. Yeah,
you're right on, Jeff, that this is the two best teams. They really are. I mean, well, North Carolina I can throw in there as being maybe as talented as these two, but as a matchup, wow, this is the best matchup by far. The committee didn't do Tennessee any favors. The national champs had to go on the road to Arkansas. Wow, this Tennessee team isn't as good as last year's because they don't have the same starting pitching that they had last year, and I think the same bullpen depth as they had last year. Liam Doyle will start the first game. He's a left-hander, really good stuff, a transfer from Mississippi, and he's going to give Arkansas everything he can. Zach Root, starter for Arkansas, is another transfer, came from East Carolina. So both guys, out through the transfer portal to get here in this spot. I think it's a really good pitcher's duel. Arkansas is the better offensive team. Arkansas has the far better bullpen. Arkansas is the better defensive team, and Arkansas is playing at home. And the line says that in the first game. Now, I faded Tennessee in their last series, and almost got there. Almost got there in that series. I faded LSU in their last series against Little Rock, and I almost got there. These teams are. Tennessee's beatable, LSU's beatable, and I think Arkansas wins this series. I think they just, pitching-wise, their depth pitching is better. It's just you got to lay a price on them, and then maybe there's my game right there that I'm going to do that. North Carolina, I found the dance partner. I'm going to parlay North Carolina with Arkansas.
There you go. Number 3 and number 5 overall in these super regionals. Again, they're few more high-end upsets than usual. It's not totally crazy when we see ones and the number 1, number 2 overall seed not even make it out of the regional, but both of them in the same year. Yeah, that's a little crazy, even though you mentioned that UTSA team is quite good and will give UCLA a big-time series just west of us in LA. All right, we will take a break. When we get back, trivia answer, whiteboards, and a bon voyage for Thursday here on Sports by the Book.
Football contest sign-up season is here, and you don't want to miss out on the action. With millions of dollars on the line each and every week in the world's biggest football contest, there's only one proxy to trust, footballcontest.com. Maddie and Tony have set the gold standard for football contest proxy services with 20 years of experience and over $13 million in winnings for their clients. All you have to do is get to Vegas between now and the start of football season to sign up in person, and they do the rest, making sure your picks are entered every week. Whether you want to play in the Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, Super Contest Gold, or the new Super Contest College Contest, Maddie and Tony have you covered. Their new website has everything you need to know about these football contests and more, including how you can reserve the best proxy in the business. Experience matters, so go with the pros at footballcontest.com, the gold standard proxy service.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
This is the best sports betting network.
I would argue it is a total mismatch.
There's value with underdog prices in series.
I would lean to the under here.
My numbers are saying I got to bet the Tigers.
Two-way action.
When in doubt, we juice that favorite, that extra nickel.
Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
Forget about it. The best.
Welcome back in Sports by the Book, South Point Studio. Kenny White, Alex White, I'm Jeff Parles. Whiteboard's coming in a few moments. But first, a trivia question. And, I think this one should have been gotten pretty quickly, and it apparently was. Which tennis icon won his first of a record 14 French Open single titles on this date in 2005? And, of course, it was Rafa. That was the first one for Nadal 20 years ago. And Rafa won his, look how young Rafa looks in that in 2005. Of course, honored him earlier in the tournament here at Roland Garros. The best clay player ever to do it. He's only 112-4 at the French Open career-wise. 112-4.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
In singles matches at Roland Garros. Nick beat out JR apparently by seconds. So a big win for Nick, who is right now the king of June here on the trivia question. 3 for 4 this week for Nick over JR. All right. About 11:05 here on a Thursday morning. Whiteboard time, and we will begin on the far side of the desk today with Kenny White.
All right, Jeff. So the NHL game, I'm going over the 6.5 plus 105. However, if you can find a 6 over, I think there's a lot more value there in that. I would even go over 6 over minus 125 than rather going over the 6.5. I won't go to $1.30 because, again, it's going to take 7 goals to win. Major League Baseball, I'm kind of out of order here because I forgot to put that Minnesota A's game in today over the 10. Warm weather, ball's going to carry, and the pitching's just right. I think these teams will put up runs there today. San Francisco, San Diego, under the 7.5, great pitching there. Texas, Tampa, tonight, love the game over. I had it over before looking at the weather, and the weather just helped put it over. Hot and humid there in Tampa tonight. Houston and Pittsburgh, I'm under the 7.5, good pitching, and very weak hitting. Both teams really struggling at the plate. College World Series, Florida State, minus 105 against Oregon State. Jeff's happy about that. He's got a Florida State ticket. And then a parlay, North Carolina, minus, if you can find, maybe you can shop around, find 315, 320. Most likely it's probably in the minus 350 range, parlaying that to Arkansas minus $1.70.
And Ryan's happy about that because he's got the Tar Heels. All ACC for us here at South Point. All right, here are my plays of the day. I'm going with the Giants here. Robbie Ray on the bump. I do like Dylan Cease on the other side, so I do like that under as well for the full game. But I expect the Giants to be up after 5. These are all first 5 bets for me. I'm going Mariners with Brian Wu, minus half a run in the first 5. They are the home team there. I'm also going to go under 4 for the first 5 in that one. And then I'm going under 4 or even 3.5 if that's what the number is here with Framber Valdez and Mitch Keller on the bump for the Pirates. Under 4 minus 120. And then for the whole series, I'm going to lay minus 2.5 with the Thunder at minus 135.
It's a good price. It's a good price on OKC to win in either a sweep or a 5 there. Your whiteboards here for today on June the 5th. All right, tomorrow on the show, Alex will be here with Vinny Maliulo for the whole show tomorrow morning. Be on the lookout for that at 10 a.m. If you're looking for more NBA Finals previews, we had Curtis Terry earlier this week. That interview available on our YouTube page right here on Sports by the Book. Also, if you missed Eddie Olczyk yesterday, his whole interview available right now. You can get more on the Stanley Cup final and what he's taking at Belmont and Saratoga this weekend in the Belmont Stakes. Kenny, Alex, good luck. We'll see you guys. Kenny, we'll see you again next week. Alex, we'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you all on Monday. Big thanks to the crew, Ann, Vince, Ryan, Drew Dog, Jerry, and very tall Sean. Thank you all as always. We will see you again tomorrow on the show at 10 a.m. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.